Another thing that affects the knockback is the amount of damage that the damage projectile does. So the splash level 4 is a significant effect even with slime ball level 1. Okay, we're going to learn how to do that today. And by that, I mean, welcome back to LewyT Amusement Academy Part 31, Knockback. So the idea is we're going to make the enemy knock back when we hit them with a splash slime ball. And so the slime ball itself won't do knockback, but the splash effect will. Okay, so let's start with the code, my favorite part. And this time we actually have 5 scripts to modify. Now, I don't want you to be intimidated by that. 3 of the 5 are very minor changes. We're going to go over those first. Any script that handles movement of a character. So the reason I'm doing this is because we want to move the character movement into the character script. This is for non-player characters only, because our player character has a different script that handles the character movement, and it will override. But we'll start with EnemyBrain. So EnemyBrain, EnemyChargeAction, and SimpleWander all have parts in those scripts that handles actual character movement. So we're going to get a reference of the character script, and this is where we actually get the reference in the start method. So this is EnemyBrain. And then down here where we were doing the movement, we were previously doing a character controller.move. We're going to check if the character script is null, and then we'll do that, what we did before. But if it's not null, meaning there is a character script, then we'll use the character.addConstantVelocity method, and we're going to pass in movement. So let's go look at the next one. It's going to be very similar, EnemyChargeAction. It already has a character script, so we didn't have to add a reference to it. And again, it's just checking if the character script exists. If it does not, it will use the original code. And if it does, it will use the character.addConstantVelocity. And then last one of these is SimpleWander. This one, again, we had to add a character script reference. And then in the onEnable method, we give it a value. This line 114 is a very minor change. This is the value for gravity on Earth. I was using 10 before, but 9.81 is actually more accurate, but it's very close to the same value, so it shouldn't be a noticeable difference in the way the game runs. But then here is our familiar. If the character is null, use the character controller to move, but if it's not, use the character script to move. Let's scoot this over a little bit. So I want to point out that what these changes do, or another thing that's a little bit different, is in SimpleWander, we're calculating both horizontal velocity and vertical velocity. And when we use the controller.move, we have to put those together. So vertical is gravity, and then we also multiply that combined velocity vector by time.delta time, and that makes it from a meters per second type of velocity to a meters per frame. So if you divide it by time.delta time, and then it's just, it slows it down. If you don't do that, it's super fast. But in our character.addConstantVelocity, we're only asking for the horizontal velocity. And the reason is because the character's movement that we'll go over later handles gravity and the time.delta time. And if we try to add these in together, first of all, if we add the vertical velocity when character already adds gravity, then it'll make the gravity extra strong, like double. And so that will not look quite correct if these characters fall much faster. And then the time.delta time movement will actually slow things down, and not just the gravity's things, but all movement, multiplying it by a number less than 1 twice. So it will actually make it like slow motion. So we don't need those 2 values included in our addConstantVelocity call. Okay, the second to last script we're going to look at is DamageProjectile. And the changes are all in this, the onTriggerEnter method, where it's doing the damage. And one thing that we're doing is in the loop where we're generating the splash damage, we're just going to check if the characters that are damaged contains the splash character. This will prevent it from double damaging from splash damage alone. Okay, and then now we have a whole separate for each loop specific for knockback. So we're saying the knock character and damage character. So it's going through that same list of characters again. It's going to create a position variable that is the position of the character, and another position variable that is the position of the slime ball or the damage projectile. And then we're going to take away the Y dimension. We're doing this because a lot of the projectiles tend to hit on top of a character if you get a direct hit, and the knockback will be imperceptible. I found this to be the case in my testing if it's just pushing it downward instead of sideways. So we're going to first remove the up and down dimension of these two positions, and then we're going to calculate a push direction based on the character position minus the blast position, and then we're going to normalize that vector so that it will be a length of 1, and then we're going to measure the distance between these two positions, and then we're going to use that to calculate the proximity factor. Proximity factor is that distance. We're going to clamp it. It has to be, it can't be less than 0 or greater than the effect radius, and that's the splash effect. And then we're going to divide that number by the effect radius, and then we're going to take that number and subtract it from 1, and that will give us a number that goes from 0 to 1 based on like how close you are. So if you're closer, it'll be a bigger number, and if you're further away, it'll be a smaller number down to 0. And then the final knockback vector is calculated by the push direction multiplied by the damage amount multiplied by the proximity factor. The knockback character, we're going to add the knockback, and it's going to be that final knockback vector. Okay, the last script that we need to look at today is the character script. And there's several changes. First of all, we're adding some new properties. We have a couple new vector 3s, one for constant velocity and one for knockback velocity. And I'll explain later why we have to separate those out. And then we need a float for friction, and we need a reference to the character controller. So if I haven't explained already, we are moving the character controller type stuff to this character script. So any sort of movement that is done on a game object that is also a character will be handled by this script instead of each one of those scripts handling their own movement. In the awake method, we're just going to assign that character controller so that we have the reference to the component. Down in the die method, we are using that character controller instead of the one that previously we were just defining a reference to character controller here in the die method, but since we already have one, we don't need that anymore. Here's another place where we're removing a reference to a new character controller variable that we define right here in this respawn method. And instead, we're going to use the one that we have defined at the top. And then in the update method, there's quite a few changes. We're going to create a vector 3 called total movement, and it is a combination of the constant velocity plus the knockback velocity. And here I'll explain what these are. Constant velocity is movement like walking or running, whereas knockback velocity is, well, what it sounds like. It's whenever you get pushed back unrelated to normal movement. In our game specifically, it's going to be when the splash explosion kind of happens related to the slime ball for if the player has the splash skill. And then we're going to check if this total movement has a magnitude of greater than a 0.01, which is a pretty small number. You just want to have a cutoff that's greater than 0, because when we do on these calculations, sometimes it's very hard for it to actually get to 0. So we just say if it gets really close to 0, we'll just count that as 0. And so we're only going to move if the character controller is not null and it is enabled. We could probably combine those all into one if statement. When we do the movement, we're using the total movement instead of just the constant velocity or knockback velocity. We're using the total. And then this part is just gravity, vector 3 dot down times the 9.81, which is a constant for gravity on Earth. And then we also multiply by time dot delta time so that we convert this total movement, which is in like meters per second, to a movement per frame. So that'll be just a much smaller number, but it will work correctly. And now once we've used the constant velocity, we're going to set it to 0, basically clearing it out so that the next time it's calculated, it will be a new number unrelated to what it was before. The constant velocity is a component of the total movement, and this component needs to be zeroed out because it should only have an effect whenever your character is trying to move, and so that it doesn't stack on the movement every frame and start moving really fast. So the knockback velocity, we're going to check and make sure it's greater than a small number, and then we're going to lerp it. So we're going to basically change this over time. So we're using the time dot delta time, but we're basically lerping it between its current value and 0. And so that way we're basically applying a friction. And so we're using this friction value, and then we're also affecting it by the time so that it's per frame instead of per second. And if this velocity's magnitude is not greater than 0.1, then we're just going to set it to 0 so that as the friction kicks in and slows you down from flying backwards, once you get to a certain slowness, you just stop. That's kind of the way real friction works. Okay, last couple of methods here is the add constant velocity and add knockback. So they both work basically the same way. First of all, we're just going to make sure we're not dead. A knockback probably could be effective during when the character is dead, but we just like to make sure it's clear when a character is dead. So we're just doing a constant velocity plus equals the velocity that we put it in here. Knockback is the knockback velocity is plus equal the force that we put in here. And as a reminder, these knockback velocities, here, let's just go look, see, we have one reference, and constant velocity, we have 3 references. This one reference is in the damage projectile, and that's where we have the knockback damage from the damage projectile. And I also want to just point out that the constant velocity has 3 references. It has one in the EnemyBrain, one in EnemyChargeAction, and one in SimpleWander. These are all the places where it handles its own movement for those scripts, but we check if we have a character script first. And if we don't, we handle the movement here, but if we do, we send the constant velocity to the character script, and the character handles it. Okay, that's all the scripts for today. Okay, and actually we don't need to make any changes in the Unity editor for this knockback effect, but I do want to build. So let's go ahead and build this project and make sure it still runs in the build mode. See you when it's done. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and start the game. I'm going to grab a few of these, and then I'm going to hit C to enter the character menu where I can upgrade my character skills. I went about sprint level 3 so I can dodge his attacks. I'm going to do slime ball level 1 and splash level 3. Level 3 is about where the splash effect becomes the most noticeable, or first becomes noticeable. So let's see if we can get a near hit or a direct hit even. So that was a direct hit that actually knocked him closer. That's, I don't know if that slowed him down. That knocked him to the side a little bit. So this is, the first point at which knockback has any effect, and it's a fairly small effect. So let's get away from him so that he doesn't chase us. And I'm going to increase splash one more time. And another thing that affects the knockback is the amount of damage that the damage projectile does. So the splash level 4 is a significant effect even with slime ball level 1. But if I get away from him for a second, and I'm going to increase Slime Ball to level 2, and he might just die here. Okay, let's wait till he comes back, and then we will try again. So Slime Ball level 2 does more damage, so it'll take fewer hits to kill him, but we'll be able to see a little bit more of a knockback effect. Okay, boom. One thing, okay, there was, you can see it there. When he's charging, the charge speed is pretty powerful, and it is not interrupted by the knockback effect. It is affected, but if he's coming straight at you, you can't really tell. There, that was a good knockback. Okay, thank you for watching LewyT Amusement Academy Part 31, Knockback. As usual, you can get the source code in the GitHub just linked below. If you have questions, drop a comment or join our Discord channel to chat. If you learned something today, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share the love with your friends, frenemies, enemies, and even your nemesis. Next time, come back down to LewyT Game Lab, where we learn how to create digital life, and we will add a feature to the inventory system that was requested by a friend.